One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? 7 days, and we're back again for another episode of The Dominant Effect. Marsh Bishop, we got Mike Ball, Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad y'all tuning in tonight. We got another banger for you, like always. But you know, before we get started, like check and see what everybody done for the week. So, what's up, Aaron? How was your week, brother? What'd you get into?
Terrible this weekend at the gun show. No crowd, and what little was in there looked like they were scared to spend money. I think with my area being hard hit with government workers being out of work and people not getting their stamps and things or not getting extra money to spend, I was definitely felt the gun show. So I know the owners and them probably lost money on the door. All the vendors took major hits this weekend, and some of them ain't coming back until January because they don't think December's going to be any better. But I take that as a bad sign for the economy right now. I hope things could bounce back when we get into December. But I'll stop there.
Well, I was in Nashville just like you were, AB. I just missed you. And but yeah, I went over there or up there for DebateCon 6, and that was a great time. I got to meet and greet with a whole bunch of the community, the other content creators as well that are in that niche. It was a great time, and got to spend from Friday till Monday basically until I came back home. So it was a good time.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, man. I was man, it totally slipped my mind that you were there. I mean, I wish I wish I had
I wish I
had
would have known that you were there on that. I would
right,
have made some shit happen.
man. Yeah, so I was in Nashville. My son plays college football for MTSU, and they were playing Western Kentucky, which is my alma mater. So um so of course I had to go see that game. You know what I mean? So it was
Of
a good
course.
time. I mean, it was a good time. Um, it was kind of hard to pick which one to choose from. You know what I mean? I mean, to actually cheer for because you got the school I went to
Right. No
play,
kidding.
and you got the school that my son's at playing against. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
That is
um,
hard. I would imagine.
right. And the funny thing was that I was walking around and like they played at Western Kentucky, so they giving out all this stuff. You know what I mean? The towels and all that, and they just handing them to me, and I'm sitting there and um, thinking like, okay, like I can't wave this. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't wave this. My brother, my boy gonna look at me and be like, oh, so you with the ops now? When you go against I mean, so it's hard to
You're like, but I'm okay with both. When you know what I mean, I'll be all
right,
right. I'll
right,
be all right either way.
right. But you know what I mean, he ain't about to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
So
course not.
I
Now
just
now
put it
you're
in my
not.
pocket.
Now you're in opposition.
Right. Yes,
That's
I just put it
hilarious.
in my pocket and that like I ain't have it and went and enjoyed the game. But it was a good game. Like I said, it was good to be there and watch and like I was literally like right on the 50-yard line, like right
Oh
there.
man,
You know
what a
what I
good
mean?
time.
So yeah, so it was up close and personal and you got to see it all. Like I said, but I had a
Beat your
really great
team.
time. And I see Aaron having some problems with his
Yeah, it's all right.
yeah. So yeah, so other than that, like I said, I did that over the weekend and then this week, like I said, I've been grinding. It seemed like it
That's right.
just hasn't stopped. I mean,
No, especially when go and do a trip like that. You come back and you have to like work almost like double time. It feels like now it's time to really. I got to get down in my business because I just spent some bread.
right. Well, that and then it was a lot of other stuff that I've been dealing with the with Diamond Effect Entertainment. It was a bunch of stuff that I've been dealing with that, and a lot of paperwork and phone calls and all this stuff. So it's been a lot. You know what I mean? It's been a lot. I'm I'm happy for it, but it's been a lot.
Right.
So
Right.
um so yeah, so we're gonna jump into this into this story tonight, and I think this is something that like some of the stuff we may have brought up before, but some of this stuff we haven't. You know what I mean? Um, so hopefully the ones that's listening tonight is going to strike your ears and gonna pay attention and kind of go along with it. So tonight we're going to pull back the curtain on something that most Americans just really don't talk about, but all of us depend on it every minute of every day, which is our power, our internet, our GPS, the entire digital world. So we live in the world that technology is an advanced moment in human history and also the most fragile. One solar storm, one corrupted file, one successful cyber attack, and the country we know could go back to the dark ages. Not hypothetically, but we've already seen warning signs. The problem isn't just our systems is vulnerable. It's the people in charge of all these systems and the fact that they're not actually prepared for what could go on. So tonight we're asking the question that no one wants to ask. Is America one glitch away from a natural disaster? So that's what we're going to hit on tonight. So when I was thinking about this, I was trying to hit it at a couple different angles. And I'm pretty sure the angle that I don't hit, I'm pretty sure Aaron got it because, you know, he be on it. So I'll just start out with, so basically, make a long story short, the U.S. technology over the years has advanced to extremely high rates because the systems are interconnected, and a lot of these systems that we're dealing with are dependent, and they have age restrictions. So take the power grid, for instance. So the power grid was divided into three major interconnections. So you got the Western, you got the Eastern, and then you have Texas, which has their own. Most equipment that was installed for the power grid was back in anywhere between the 1950s to 1970s.
Right.
And some of these transformers has been used, that's currently up right now, and has been used for about 50, 60 years. So example, you had the Northwest, you had the Northeast blackout back in 2023. No, take it back. 2003. Sorry.
I remember when that whole ordeal happened. Yep.
Yeah. So that was a single software glitch that happened in Ohio, and also a tree branch in another area that led to 50 million people across the United States and Canada with no power. If that shows you just how fragile that grid can be. So while the internet seems decentralized, and major cloud providers like AWS and Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure, and the list goes on, you have a lot of this that's dealing with banking, dealing with healthcare, a lot of government services. All of this stuff runs off of this. That can easily be affected. So one of the things we were talking about previously was back when remember when they had the cyber attack on Microsoft? And
I do remember that as well.
And they had to go back and they put this big ransom out, and of course Microsoft paid for it or whatever. But those people were able to get to the source code of Microsoft with the bare bones. Now, me and Aaron talked about this before a while ago. Nobody was able to get that far into it and not leave something that they could go back and use later on. They could go back and actually get back into that system, especially when how far you got into it.
Right.
You got all the way down to the source code. But then, shortly after, they had the whole CrowdStrike thing and it knocked out services, and flights, and the stock exchange, all, numerous stuff, because this stuff is all interconnected.
Right. I've got a question on this particular thing. What recently just happened with Cloudflare, Cloudflare, I believe is how you say it. Did you notice that whole ordeal that happened about, 2-3 days ago?
No.
Okay, so Cloudflare is essentially a program that it's kind of like the power plant of the internet, and they do a whole bunch of shit. They run like a whole bunch of stuff with AI and open AI, and as well as like all the CAPTCHA, like I'm not a robot thing, like all that stuff when you click in to your bank and all that stuff. They run all of that, and that just went down, and it went down for a very short period of time, but it was mega. I mean, it affected like hundreds of millions of people. So no one could like log in or use any type of ChatGPT, OpenAI, and most of the internet was basically shut down. You couldn't get into your bank shit. You couldn't play video games. You couldn't do anything, you know?
Mhm.
And so that just happened. And so the reason why I even bring that up, because it just happened. So I asked a question in my chat, is the whole country a house of cards right now? And I hope that you guys answer that question. But yeah, I look at just what just happened a few days ago with Cloudflare, that the internet isn't as indestructible as we think. I mean, one company, one thing went down and everyone, I mean, everything, anything, like you couldn't do anything with AI, even Canva to make thumbnails. You couldn't log in.
Mhm.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been a number of different ones. You had one, remember back in 2020 when you had the AWS outage, and that disrupted thousands of services, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the news sites, government apps, a lot of streaming platforms, all of that stuff went down. Um, and then you have the GPS. So, you know, when they first started working with GPS, that was back in '78, and then they kind of completed it all back in '93. But that was originally built for the military, and but they decided that to branch it over towards the civilian world, and that's when it actually exploded. But it was originally only supposed to be for the military. But dealing with this power grid and then also this internet, like I said, all of it runs hand in hand. Without power, you don't have this.
Yeah. It's all like a
You know what I
chain.
mean? Right, right. So you have no GPS, you have no internet if you have no power grid. Now, the thing with the power grid is that you have thousands of substations in the US. Now with those substations, there is only nine particular substations that if was hit or attacked, whether cyber attack or whatever, you could basically blacken out the whole US with 9 substations.
I believe that.
So
Yeah.
that's how easy this could be. Now,
And I think I've heard you say that before on our show a long time ago. Yeah, I think I remember you saying that.
yeah, so nine substations. You can knock those 9 substations out, and it would basically put you back in the Stone Ages. You know, another thing I think Aaron probably bring up would be about EMPs. I think that's probably one that he's going to jump on. So I'm gonna let him talk about it. But that one that's more significant and more could happen
Realistic. Right.
than figuring out where those 9 particular substations are. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like I said, it can be done because these numerous power companies has talked about that they've have personnel there just to deal with cyber attacks, and that they come in from these different countries, numerous every single day, trying to tap into the power grids, trying to tap into water plants, 911 services. That happened back in Ohio, over in your area, Aaron, where they tapped into 911 services. But yeah, it's a lot of this stuff that's going on. But Aaron, I'm gonna go ahead and let you hit it because I know you're gonna bring up what
He's
I
gonna
think.
blow it out of the water. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring up a cyber attack that happened back in May the 7th, 2021. That was the Colonial Penn pipeline. That pipeline is American owned. It's an oil pipeline. It originates in Houston, Texas. It carries gasoline and jet fuel mainly to the southeastern United States. Now, what happened to them was they suffered a ransomware cyber attack that infected the computerized equipment that managed the pipeline. And they literally had to pay off to get Volt Typhoon or whichever group it was to give them the code so that they can get control of their systems and be able to run their systems again. Then, and there's probably 4 different ways to take the power grid down: cyber attack, CME, which is coronal mass ejection from the sun, and EMP, and then fifth columns activity inside the United States where they're firing directly or attacking transformers with drones. Now, going to a CME, coronal mass ejection from the sun. A lot of people in the United States this week got to look up at the sky and see pretty colored lights and took pictures of it. I saw a lot of people posting it on Facebook
The
and
Northern
YouTube.
Lights, they were
Right,
beautiful,
right. But
but
what people don't understand, for us to see it this far away, that is a major problem. Major problem. That's very, very negative. Now, Mike, if you don't mind putting up that one picture I sent you.
I'm looking for it right now. Give me a sec. Here it is.
Okay. All right. Now, this is the geomagnetic storm impact scale. That was a G3, what we saw. It caused some radio disruption and things. But back in August 28th, 1859, we had a solar storm that was a G5, which, that, as you can see on the thing, that's the highest level. They called it the Carrington effect. That was the most powerful solar storm that we've seen. It caused fires wherever there was telegraph office. Luckily for us, there wasn't very many power lines back then, mostly just telegraph offices. And any major city that had any sort of electronics had fires because those wires burned up, telegraph lines burned up. Anywhere there's a telegraph station, those stations caught fire because those control pads were overloaded with electricity that came from the sun. Now, when you watch the movie 2012, that was based upon a CME attack from the sun. If you watched another movie, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It doesn't come to my mind, but it was based upon a CME where the radiation penetrated to the Earth's core and caused Earth displacement, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. I mean, if you're seeing the northern lights inside the United States, our atmosphere is being attacked by high levels of radiation. And that's a major problem. That can also take our power grid down if it's a G5. An EMP is electromagnetic pulse. We have China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, all have EMP weapons. Some of them are in weaponized satellites that fly right over top of us every day. One EMP over top of Cincinnati, Ohio, and another one over Oklahoma will black out the entire United States. And it would be 2 years or more before the power would come back on. And that's only in the areas that are critical, the areas that are closest to military bases or hospitals. Your area may not see power for another year or two. And like I said, you've got fifth column people in here with bad actors, bad players wanting to do terrorist activity that will shoot at the transformers or fly explosives on drones into them. There's one year I remember there was someone in a boat, some people in a boat firing at transformers and they blacked an area out. And there was another time that people were firing from a moving car at a substation, and the area that substation went down and entire areas were in the black behind it. Those people were practicing. They was wanting to make sure that they can make this happen. So between the cyber attacks, the EMP, and the fifth column, there's 3 ways right there that they can bring our grid down, and we may not see power for at least 2 years. But I'll stop there for right now.
Now, the sad thing about that is that a lot of this stuff here, they've been getting warnings. The government has been getting warnings for over 50 years.
Yeah.
About a lot of this stuff. Where's that paper I got here? Yeah, here go one here. It says America's had 50 years of warnings. And this is what the experts say must happen. EMP protection, which has been advised since 2008. Backup systems for GPS has been recommended since 2000.
Wait, protection? EMP protection?
What's that?
That's a thing? You can get something to protect yourself from an EMP?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Mhm.
Hardening substations was after 2013's cyber attack on the grid. Regulate AI. The NTSB suggested that multiple AI-driven system failures that needed to be backed up, and also to create a backup internet that DARPA suggested back in 2010. And also the National Cyber Defense Coordination recommended repeatedly since 2015. So this stuff has been brought up, has been talked about, has been said needed to be protected or fortified or whatever in order to keep this stuff from happening. And it says out of that, only 5% of these recommendations has been fulfilled.
Right. I mean, I'm surprised it's even 5%.
Yeah. So they've been half-ass doing this for the longest.
Now, who did it tell you the person that made, like, is it someone in the government that said you guys should be having this? I mean, because it's interesting because it's weird the average citizen doesn't get that kind of info. And if we do, a lot of times it's brushed off as like, well, that's some tinfoil hat shit, huh? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's kind of like a double-edged sword here.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't figure it would probably be government. I figured it would probably be more along the lines of like scientists, researchers, stuff like them. Those are the ones that usually go to the government telling them, okay, you need to do this, you need to fortify this, you need to restructure this.
Right.
And a lot of times they just get pushed to the side. They don't really pay attention to them until something happens to the point that they have to be brought in. Like there's been several movies that we've watched. Now you notice that it's always like a scientist or a professor or astrologist or somebody that'll show up and be like, okay, this is what's going on, blah 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 blah, and then they push them away, and then something happens, and then they bring them back and be like, hey, what happened? Tell us what we need to do. You know what I mean? And then you walk through them, because this. How many times have we said, and we've said it on numerous shows, that people really don't take heed to stuff that's going on until it actually happens to them.
Yes, of course.
If it doesn't happen to them, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, 100%.
So
ignorance
that's generally
is bliss.
What a lot of this is. It's like, okay, a lot of them would be like, okay, well, how much is that going to cost? Oh, no, that costs too much. But we give away money all the time. You know what I mean? So a lot of this money that we've given away throughout the years, you actually should have used to fortify a lot of this stuff. Now, some of the bases, like Army bases and stuff like that, they have EMP protection and some things. And there's some things that you can actually buy on the civilian part.
Is it like an electronic or something like that you plug in or something to shield your house?
One that
something?
they make. I don't know whether how good it is. There's some stuff that you can buy that you can hook up to your car that can do it. There's a couple.
Wow.
It's called EMP Shield. You can look that up. You can Google it. You can attach them to generators. You can attach them to your car. Attach them to anything that's electronic, and it shields against the EMP voltage that would overwhelm your electronics and burn it out. I mean, in your car, you're going to lose your computer chips and you're going to lose your solenoid. So if you got extra computer chips and solenoid and a spare battery, you can get your car back running.
What is it, like a vinyl wrap that they put on top of the car or something like that?
No,
what is it?
It's a little box, and it's got 3 wires on it. 2 of them go to your battery and 1 of them goes to ground on your car, and it throws off into the body of your car that overwhelming overpressure voltage that your vehicle's going to get hit with to blow the chips out and blow that solenoid out. So, but it's called EMP Shield. It's an actual product that you can buy.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Now here's a question for Aaron. How close have we came to a nationwide grid failure?
Man, probably at least three times that I halfway remember. Back in 2003, I think there was another time in 2005, and somewhere between 2010 and 2012, I think there was another time that things almost cascaded into a grid down, and they just barely saved the system at the last minute. But they were scrambling. I mean, when one system goes down, it starts drawing power from the others, and then the other transformers may not be able to keep up with the overload, and that's when you start getting your cascading stuff, and transformers start exploding on the poles, and you start having some real problems.
Mm-hmm. Now you did have a near miss back in 2012, like you said. And then in 2018, you had a Ukrainian cyber attack. And that one basically demonstrated how cyber attacks can shut down entire power grids. While the U.S. hasn't faced a full scale blackout like that, a lot of these experts say that particular risk is very real. It can. So you got the aging transformers, you got underfunded maintenance, you have increased dependence on AI and digital monitoring, which pulls more power because those AI systems and stuff require a certain amount of power. That's also pulling from these aging substations. You know what I mean? These aging grids. Which can actually make a lot of these outages actually possible. Now, over in Texas, now they do have times where they actually cut the power to keep it from overloading, especially like in the summertime. They have like certain areas that they shut the power off to keep it from overloading, because Texas basically has their own power grid. Everything that's in Texas runs off of that, but it also pulls a lot of that energy. So when you have these tech companies that's building these huge buildings for AI and all that stuff, that requires a lot of electricity to be able to run them. You know what I mean? And when you using, this grid, and a lot of the components in this grid has been used for 50, 60 years, you bound to mess up something somewhere. That's a guarantee that's going to happen.
I'll tell you one other thing that's happening right now, and it's getting real popular up in New York and other places. You got copper thieves. There's still an entire 30, 40, 50 feet of power line. I don't know how they're cutting the power, but they cut the power at 4 or 5 in the morning, cut a section out of it, let it hit the ground, and then they cut it up into parts, and then they strip it and go cash it in. I just saw a video yesterday where they took a 50-foot section, and that copper was worth $50,000, and it took 6 of them to do it. But the copper thieves are stealing underground cables as well as cables that's above the surface. But somehow they figured out how to reroute the power, or cut it off temporarily, so that they can cut the damn lines. Which I was amazed that they were doing that.
I remember back years ago when I worked for the power company. and we would go state to state working on power lines and all that. And before we would work on them, we would go through and like do an inspection on that particular section. So we would go to the substation, we would follow it all the way out and do like an inspection on all the poles in that area, and then go back and fix whatever it was that needed to be fixed. And about 90% of the poles that we went to, there is a copper line that runs from the top of the pole to the ground. It's called a ground wire. And you have a stake that we knocked down about 4 or 5 feet straight down, and you have the copper wire hooked to that rod. So that way it accepts, like if you get hit by lightning or whatever, it accepts the charge, drop it down to the ground to keep it from traveling through the line and blowing a transformer or a regulator or or the fuses. 95% of those poles that we seen from head height down was cut all the way down because people were going stealing the copper off of the shit. Now, by them doing that, if that particular grid got hit by lightning, which it does all the time, and you're not able to properly ground that, it flows through, boom, hit the transformer, it's done. You know what I mean? Like just tapping a fuse, yeah, that happens all the time. But actually going to the point that you blowing transformers, totally different. Totally different. Now, like if you'll be in the house and like right before your power goes out, it kind of flickers, go out, and then it just goes completely out, right? So that's your regulator. That's your 3 strikes. And what that regulator does, it tries to kick that power on, but it's only going to do it 3 times. It's going to try to kick it back on, kick it back on, kick it back on. 3rd time, done. Once that regulator goes, it's out. You know what I mean? You're going to be sitting in the dark. But
so is it imperative to have a generator of some sort on your property?
No, I would say so. I mean, because I have one. But like a lot of people, like here in Florida, everybody got a generator. Just about everybody got a generator.
But that's because your guys' situation with the hurricanes and stuff.
Right. So everybody has them. Now, more Midwest wise, a lot of people don't. I mean, like some people have generators, a lot of them don't. You know what I mean? Because like I said before, people don't think about this stuff because it doesn't affect them. You know what I mean? And they be like, okay, well, why am I gonna have a generator sitting there? I ain't gonna use it for nothing. You see what I mean? That's what happens. Now, should they have one? Absolutely. There's a actually I've been looking at the they make some solar generators that actually run super quiet. Don't nobody know you even have it. As opposed to a gas powered one where everybody down the block gonna know you got a generator.
How expensive is it though?
About it depends upon the wattage.
Yeah, AB said, it's a little pricey.
You can get you can get a EcoFlow River for probably about $450 to $500, but you're only going to get about 400 to 600 watts off of it. If you're talking about powering anything of any substance,
I got a compound here, homie. I got to be able to power this motherfucker.
You're going to need at least 1,800 watts or more. The closer you can get to 3,000 to 5,000, the better you are. Now, EcoFlow has a Delta model, and I've used that, and it's great. It's great. You got different systems out there, Blue Eddy, different ones like that. Even the military uses a solar one now, and it has backup batteries that you can stack. It just depends upon how much money you want to put into a system. But keep in mind, you've got the Amish people that can live without power. So it just depends upon how important power is to you.
Well, I think a lot of people rely on this, even down to medical equipment, stuff that are keeping people alive and stuff like that. I look at all sorts of things like that. If it goes down, yes, there are certain people like maybe me and you that can survive that, but there's a lot of people that actually rely on electricity for life.
Well,
Sadly.
I can give you some figures on that if you actually want some numbers.
Well, that's totally interesting. I wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't
I don't want to get too
interesting.
far ahead of Bishop.
Right,
So, I
right,
mean,
right,
Right.
right.
I
No,
know
I heard
he's
you.
leading us that way,
Right.
Do you want me to say anything, Bishop, or you want me just to
Go
hold
ahead.
till you get there?
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay. Okay. Now, right now, two figures I'm about to give comes from a book called Society Ending Events. It's pandemics, economic collapse, and grid down, and nuclear war. It says in the book, each day there's an average of 630,000 people that are on life support. They will not survive the first 24-hour period that that grid goes down. Now,
You
some of the
said 630,000 or something like that?
630,000. They
Wow.
won't survive the first 24 hours. Now, if they're in a hospital, the hospitals have generators up on top of the building. So long as the hospital can get power, those people can be tended to. But in the event that we get days into this situation, a lot of people will stop reporting to work. I mean, Katrina showed that. We had hospital staff as well as law enforcement that did not go into work. They stayed home to protect their families. Now, next figure that you'll find interesting is 1,460,000 people are in nursing homes on life support or medically assisted living, of which 1,100,000 would die due to lack of critical care. I mean, once those nurses and people desert those people, they're not going to last. So that grid is man, it means life or death for a lot of people right now. I mean, look at how many people won't be able to get prescriptions. You got what, 44 million people in the United States that are on pharmaceutical meds that need that to be able to survive. And there's a large percentage of them that needs Prozac, lithium, other things that help them control their minds so that they're not out here playing zombie and whacking people off. So how are they going to get prescription meds if that power grid goes down? There's going to be nobody that can make a prescription for you. Uh, we're talking life or death, and that's the reason why the military, the government, they cannot play with this. They got to be on top of this because if that grid goes down, millions of people are going to die. Now, I can get into figures on that, or I can tell you what's going to happen after the first 72 hours that grid goes down. How bad things is going to get once people realize that grid's not going to come back up. But I'll wait. I'll let Bishop guide us that direction because he's getting there.
Shit.
There is like I said, well, me and Aaron talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about a lot of this dealing with the power grid, also dealing with the internet. Because if the internet goes down, of course, banking freezes, transportation gonna come to a halt, business is gonna crash. I mean, all of it is gonna come to a huge standstill. All of it's gonna come to a standstill. I think what Aaron was talking about is what happens once everybody realizes that, okay, this isn't just a localized power outage. This is a nationwide power outage. Ain't nothing moving. You know what I mean? There's no plane, trains, buses, nothing. Everything's in the dark. Now what? And like Aaron said, the first 72 hours is going to be the most important, because if you're ready and you're prepared, you're fine. Because you're going to sit back and you're not going to be out in the crowd. You're not going to be at the stores. You're not going to be at the gas stations. You're not going to be in none of them spots, because you know that's the first thing everybody's going to do. They're going to run to those areas, clean everything out. then once they clean everything out, then whatever's left, you know, people who, let's say somebody who don't have the funding to go in there and get whatever that they want to get, then they're gonna start knocking people in the head, taking what they got as they come out the stores. It's gonna become panic. Once those 72 hours is up, that's when the free for all goes. That's when they're gonna start going house to house.
You better have some firearms, man.
They're gonna start going house to house. They're gonna start pillaging. That's why I was talking about that generator. Now, if you got that generator running, they can hear it all the way down the road. They know, okay, somebody got some power. So if that means if that power going, that refrigerator running, they got lights. That's where we need to be. So the actual solar generators are actually better because it's quiet. They don't even know. You can blacken out your windows and whatever, and they can go right by and not even know that you got the whole house lit up, and they don't even know it.
Right.
I mean, so there's a lot that can go on doing that. And also on the breakdown with that, and I know Aaron's gonna get to it. Once you get past a certain point, people start to die. You know, and not just dealing with violence. Now, violence is going to take out a lot of people, but I mean, overall.
But yeah, people that rely, that need food, that need this, they're
right.
Totally.
They're going to need food. They're going to need water because eventually, them pumping stations, those generators and those pumping stations are going to stop.
Yeah, and those people that are timid in the beginning, you know, unfortunately, those people may not last. You have to claim your shit.
Right.
It's like going into county jail, you know what I mean? Like, I claimed my shit.
Right. And then, for instance, even if you were able to still get water, doesn't necessarily mean it's safe to drink.
No kidding.
Because you don't know what done tapped into it over there, especially being the fact that ain't nothing running. You don't know
even
what
my
may
lake
have overflowed
that's right
into.
Here. Even my lake that's right here, theoretically, someone could jeopardize that water while I'm sleeping or whatever the case is. I mean, you're not invincible, you know, and even down to your own water source. Like my own property has its own water source, but even that could be tampered with.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that can be that can go on. There's a lot that you need to be prepared for. Like you said, after this time, like you said, you may be able to pull water out of the faucet, but it may not be safe to drink. Do people know what they need to do to make that water safe to drink? Do you have what you need in order to make that happen? I mean, if you don't have it, do you know that you can go out, that you can go outside and put a couple of elements together to be able to make a filter to be able to drink that water?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the stuff now, you know, like they make the straws that you can, hell, I got several of them, but then I also have like.
I ordered one from Aaron, actually. Shout out to Aaron, by the way. Legend.
Yeah, I got this one from Aaron a while ago, and it was like a water bottle that has an actual filter that fits down inside of it. And that one works amazingly. I mean, like it takes everything out, you know what I mean? But what if you don't have that? Okay. So you can easily make up a filtration system to be able to filter that water, and you still may have to turn around and boil it after the end, just to make sure, you know what I mean? You can also use bleach, you can use iodine tablets. I mean, there's various things that you can use.
So many things.
But how many people really know that that's what they can do?
Right.
You know,
I think a lot of people, though most people are not going to do that level, there are still that small minority of society that is willing to do that. And that's where you can never let your guard down. You've got to be ready at all costs at any time. to handle those situations. And everything we ever give a fuck about, it's always guarded with firearms, you know? So that goes for your own family. That goes for your own property and everything that you own.
Right. So the so when you think about it and think about who would probably suffer the fastest, that's what we could talk about. Who gonna suffer the fastest? So you got the dense cities, which is
This is the first wave.
right. That's where you have immediate disruption to transportation, power, all that goes out. You got your hospitals and your nursing homes, your medical devices, anything that's dependent on electricity. Your a lot of your lot of your monitors, defibrillators, pacemakers, stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is programmed in other places to where people can actually keep monitor as to what how that pacemaker is working, how that defibrillator is working, stuff like that. A lot of that stuff can be affected. A lot of the small businesses that rely on the internet, banks, low income families that has fewer resources and fewer emergency supplies. Anyone within that 72-hour food water ratio is at a risk. And if you think about back when they had Hurricane Katrina back in 2005, and then you had Puerto Rican blackout back in 17 and 18, that showed quickly how much no power and what happens. You know what I mean? People start to panic. People start to go berserk. You know what I mean? They start breaking into houses. They start, looting, taking everything that they can possibly take. But that stuff don't last long. I mean, so you have to have some kind of critical skill to know that when these situations happen, okay, is it a bad situation? Yes. Are you going to panic about it? No. Because you know what it is you need to do. You know what I mean? And I think at this day and age, with the stuff that's going on, the stuff that they don't talk to you about, stuff that they do talk to you about, everybody should be prepared in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You should not just sit back and wait for something like this to come and smack you in the face and you have no clue as to what you're doing. Aaron was talking about, what was it, last week or week before last? You had like a little seminar that you were doing.
Yeah, at a church.
Right.
Yeah, for
Now,
nation.
how many people actually showed up for that?
We had 9.
9.
And the church would have held probably 200 or 300.
Okay. Now, this was passed around. People knew about it, right?
For a whole month.
It was pushed out. They got you to come down there to talk about it. You had 9 people show up. Now, if something would have actually happened, let's say a week later,
those
9 people actually knew what to do, right?
Right.
This is a free place. Anybody could have went.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Open to the public.
But nobody. That's the point I'm getting at. Nobody's taking the initiative to actually want to know that. You know what I mean? How long was the seminar?
2 hours.
2 hours. 2 hours out of your time to figure out what you could and could not do in a survival situation. What you could use, because I'm pretty sure that you had a lot of demonstrations and stuff in there as to what you could use, not use, or whatever. Yep. And the only thing that took was 2 minutes of your time. 2 hours of your time. Sorry. Did not happen. You know what I mean? But guaranteed, if something happened, you're going to see 2,000 people rushing around trying to figure out what they're going to do, as opposed to being a little proactive about this. You know what I mean? That's 2 hours. That's what? A movie?
Yeah.
A Netflix movie? Take a Netflix movie out of your time to figure out
To learn how to
what you
survive.
what you need to do if this happens, if and when something happens. And right now, we live at a pivotal time right now that this could happen at any time. It can happen while we're sitting here talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Because an EMP does not have to hit the ground. It can explode 25 miles up. You don't even see it.
Right.
Real quick, I got to interrupt. We got a Chris Lestrange raid, my man. Thank you so much for sending your people all over here. Thank you for that. Very much appreciate that, kind sir. Thank you for that. Welcome in everybody that's coming in.
Yeah, so you don't even see that. And it blankets everything. And by the time that takes place, like you said, you back in the Stone Ages. Now what you gonna do? So go ahead and run it through it, Eric.
Okay.
Go ahead. I know you're dying to do it. Go ahead and do it.
I've got wrote down in my notes. I'm making a notebook for my grandchildren. My knowledge. I've taken 2 pages out of it to show. Because I mean, how many times do you say, "Well, if I'd known back then what I know now"? So I'm taking that in consideration. I'm getting out in front and I'm handing my knowledge to my grandchildren so that they will know what I know now at a very young age. Now, 10 things that will happen after 72 hours in the urban areas, not countryside, urban areas. You're going to have mass confusion because of the loss of cell phones. You know, how are you going to be able to communicate with people? That's a question. People need to address that. Emergency services, there's going to be a loss of police, fire, medical. They will be completely overwhelmed, and then a collapse will happen when their total generators run out for those who's got them. EMP cars will be stranded. Failure of traffic lights is going to cause big traffic jams. Roads will be blocked. People will be violent at those junctures because they're going to be panicking and they're going to want resources to try to get home. Crime and riots are going to lead to WROL, which stands for without rule of law. There are those who will take advantage of it and will be out looting just for the hell of it. But you need self-defense and to be in good physical condition to be able to survive this. Now, when the crime and riots start to occur, martial law. When the riots happen, government will declare martial law because they got to get control. They got to hold control. When them riots and things start happening, that's the government's losing control of the people and the people becoming less civil toward one another. Martial law will be put in place to restrict your movement, and there will be a gun confiscation. So you can expect that. Number 6, there's going to be a loss of access to money and funds. There's going to be no power, which means no banks, no stores, etc. You must be able to barter. So that means you want to set up community with people now that you can talk to, negotiate with, farmers that if you showed up on their land, they're not going to be putting a business into something at you. They're going to recognize you. What do you need? And then you're going to show them what you got to trade, or if you got gold or silver or something that they will accept.
Right.
Water and sanitation. There's going to be a loss of running water. Water is the number one prep after any disaster. You're going to lose that after 72 hours. So, and then you're not going to be able to flush your toilets. So after 2 or 3 days, you're not flushing your toilets, you can have a major disease forming inside your house. So what's your plan to handle sanitation? That's the most forgotten thing that's out there.
So, but if you have buckets of water, you can still flush, right?
Yeah, you can power flush. Yeah.
You power flush, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Yeah, huh? I like that. I like that W.
Okay. Number 8, there's going to be a loss of gasoline and natural gas. It takes power to run the pumps. It takes power to run the natural gas pumps that pumps gas to your house for your furnace. When they lose that, there's going to be riots at gas stations, and those gas stations are going to be looted. People are going to start cutting them damn hoses. And if the guys don't have the stuff turned off inside, they're going to be stealing everything under the sun. Number 9, you're going to have a loss of production. No power, That means there's no production, food, drink, shoes, clothes, medicine, etc. Stores will be looted, highways will be blocked. And number 10, we're going to talk about the aftermath. There will be a change to your environment. People will go after people with resources. Some people will leave to the countryside to take resources. The
Right.
lesson that you want to do to get ahead of this, you want to retain food, water, fuel, medicine, and security implements in preparation for disaster. Because
Firearms
basically,
too.
yeah,
Firearms too.
that's security implements. Now,
Okay.
if you cannot defend what you have, you're not going to keep it long.
It all comes down to force. That's right.
Yeah. And to give you an idea of how bad things will be in just the first 30 days, 1.6 million people will die from exposure. That's if we're going into winter. Okay. 6.3 million people will die from thirst or drinking contaminated water because they don't know how to properly make it safe to drink, and they don't have like chlorine. If it's 100% chlorine bleach, no additives, 2 drops to a quart, 4 drops to a half gallon, 8 drops to a gallon. I mean, I can go down the list, but you also have to understand that chlorine after 9 months starts to lose strength. And then you got to know how much additional to put in there. But even after treating it with chlorine, I would still boil it because 2 is 1, 1 is none. 9.8 million people will die from starvation. We're talking the first 30 days. There's a lot of people.
How many people?
9.8 million.
9.8 million
yeah,
people will
'cause-
die from starvation alone.
Because
Wow.
the average people only keep 3 days worth of food. They go grocery
kidding.
shopping every 3 to 4 days because they don't know what they might have an
Yeah,
appetite for.
they don't have a cellar full of rice and beans
Right.
and
A-
you know what I
a
mean,
good-
ready to go. Yeah,
A good food pantry is your way around. That's your workaround. 4.7
That's
million people will die from lack of critical services. 3.2 million people will die from suicide because there'll be those who they can't take this. This is
right.
way
It's
outside their
way
comfort zone.
way too crazy for them.
And 22 million people in the first 30 days will die from violence. So that's just the first 30 days. Then you get into day 40 to day 90, and you get into day 90 to day 180. So it's bad. It's bad. And that's the worst thing that this nation could see at this time is for us to lose the power grid for any number of reasons for an extended period of time. The government's program shows that 90% of the U.S. population will be dead in the first, 6 to 18 months.
So,
That's-
Aaron, real quick on that. So, it looks like it's a house of cards not only for the internet level on some glitch level, but it comes down to we're a house of cards as a society as well.
Right. I mean,
That's
crisis.
not good.
Yeah, crisis brings people together. But once you get past a certain number of days and people start competing with each other for resources, civility goes out the door. The average person that you might have been having neighborhood barbecues with might be coming against you with some of the other neighbors because they know you got power and you may
Absolutely.
have food and you may have water and you're not sharing it with nobody.
Well,
Because
on
Go ahead.
on that too, how important is it to have a commodity, quote unquote, such as gold and silver in these situations?
in the initial beginning, the first 72 hours, it may be critical if nobody's taking money. Look at Argentina over the weekend.
Yep.
Even though they got $20 million from the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and they got 20 billion from the IMF, they got 40 billion from the United States because we bought the Argentine peso. Overnight, from Friday to Saturday morning, their money took a devaluation. And that next morning, you had people cashing in 500 or 1,000 Argentine pesos for American $20 bill. They started dropping their own money. The vendors didn't want to take it no more. Nobody's trusting it right now. I mean, once things start to go, there's going to be a cascading, a bunch of dominoes starting to fall. One's going to knock down the other, and man, it's going to get bad. Like I said, once people realize that power's not coming back on, it'll get bad within 3 days.
Oh man,
People need to wake up. This is very, very
it's a little
serious.
discouraging because truthfully, I think the honest number of people that are prepared for situations is maybe less than 1%.
Right.
For real, like on a real level, like you're prepared for all situations, ready to go. Um, this is a wake up call, if anything, for everybody. This is time to look at stuff like gold and silver as a real deal thing, not just some conspiracy theorist, level type shit. This could happen at any time. We're looking at a currency reset here very soon. And what happens when you've got 100,000 of that fiat currency that's now become worthless? What happens then?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Let's say that it's an EMP and not a cyber attack or something like that. On day one, I'm talking in the first few hours, you got 1,500 flights per hour up in the sky at any point in time. That's commercial planes as well as privately owned planes, and they could be little Cessnas. You got between 150,000 to 275,000 people will die from planes falling out of the sky. So if you know that your enemy can rake up a count of 275,000 people in the first 5 or 10 minutes of an EMP being used, why not make those planes safe against the EMP attack? I mean, it's ridiculous to leave us exposed like we're being left. But I know the United States ain't mentioned in the end times in the Bible, so maybe it's not meant for us to be here. But my God, man, this is amazing that we're being left wide open for these attacks and all these military age males they done brought in here, Russians, Iranians, damn Chinese, different ones. And what are they going to do when this happens? They're going to band together, and you're going to have private armies roaming the streets, and they're going to be hard to fight. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People really need to understand that Obama and them made a movie, The World We Left Behind the power grid going down. And there's even a movie, How It All Ends, is based upon a CME from the sun. I mean, anything that takes that grid down is major. And can you live without power? Is going to be the question.
Right. Right. It's but it kind of, when you think about it, it's something that, like I said, we use every minute of every day, but it's so fragile that one small glitch, one cyber attack, anything, one EMP away from, nothing. You know what I mean? But I think though, for real, I think a lot of this would happen with the power grid. We're going to have a power grid problem here real soon, and we're going to have a power grid problem, and it's not going to have anything to do with an EMP. It's not going to have anything to do with a cyber attack. It's going to be all of these damn AI centers that they build. They building these massive AI centers. They building one in Texas. I mean, it's monstrous. And then they talk about how much power that it takes to run it. You have these, they're building these all across the country, and it's draining power. Now, you're not fixing the overall infrastructure. You still using stuff that was put in there in the 50s and 60s and 70s. You know what I mean? Now, you changing a little stuff along the way, you know what I mean, as it's burning out or whatever, you're replacing it. But you haven't done no full scale power grid maintenance to where you fortified everything and that it can't just easily be taken out. And then now you add in these huge they're not factories, it's like these big AI centers. They're massive, and it's full of computers.
They're all over.
And, right, but it takes a shitload of power to even run them.
Of course.
That's where we're gonna have the problems at when all them start going online and they start sucking all this power. You're gonna have cities that's gonna go black. Because they really don't have the capabilities of supplying that much power.
True.
That's really what's gonna happen. That's gonna be the first part that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now when Aaron was talking about the solar storms earlier, and here for the past couple of weeks, there has been several mass ejections that came this way, and it has affected communication and GPS and all different kind of stuff all across the country. It's been doing it for the past couple of weeks. But once again, that's something that if you wasn't on a particular program to see it, you wouldn't know anything about it because they didn't even bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
You had no idea. Now, there was it's this one show I watch all the time. I got it set up on YouTube, so every time something go on, it'll pop up, and then I could see it and go on there. That's how I knew about it, because I didn't see anything else anywhere else that was even talking about it. But but what we have here though is that it's something that can easily be tapped into, and it can easily change the dynamics on a lot of what we have going on today. A whole lot of it. You was talking about that movie that the Obamas did. That movie there, I watched it a couple of times. I watched it the first time and didn't understand it, and then when somebody told me about the hidden messages, and I went back and rewatched it and only watched for the hidden messages, everything made sense. The whole movie made sense at that point. Then there's another one. What's the name of that other movie that came out not too long ago? Is it called State of the Union? I think that's what it is.
I've only watched like 15 movies in my entire life, so
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I couldn't tell you.
And it was some people they went to the gas station and they wanted to get gas, and they asked them, how much money did you have? And they said, well, I got $800. And they was like, in US or Canadian? And she said US. And he said, well, you can get a couple sandwiches. And that was
That was called Civil War.
was that what it is? Civil War? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was that showed you there where everything had dropped. I mean, and we know that it's coming. We know that it's coming. I mean, when you look at what's going on in the UK right now with the digital ID, the digital currency, about them, making everybody go under this in order to work, in order to eat.
It's so scary.
Over in the EU, where you had to do the scans in order to get on the airplanes. And then I seen a thing yesterday where they were telling Americans, even if they were over in Europe or abroad, they had to do it too in order to get home.
Oh my God. That's it's gonna spread like this then.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be everywhere.
We're doomed.
You're running out of time.
I mean, we are fucked.
Yeah, you're running out of time.
Not to be a doomsdayer here or a fearmongerer, but it's coming.
Yeah, you're running out of time. So that's where a lot of this stuff is. A lot of stuff that we're talking about is detrimental, because what you have coming on now, that like you said, you don't hear nobody talking about this over in the US right now, that this is what they're going to do. And you hear like a couple little things like, okay, like Utah said that they wanted to try it or whatever. And then you hear a little something over here, but back a few years ago, they was talking about Wisconsin and this factory that everybody took a little chip for, for work in that factory, stuff like that. I mean, you hear little things, nothing broad spectrum, like you're hearing in these other countries.
Right.
But it's coming. And whether we want it to or not, I mean, and I think that's going to cause a lot of protests, because people are not going to want that. They're not going to want it.
Of course, I'm going to be front lines of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm ready.
Yeah, they're not going to want that at all. So, like we were saying before, how do you pass this off to make people accept it? You crash everything else.
That's right.
You crash everything else, and you make it to where you either do this or you don't eat. You know what I mean? I was looking for that when they was talking about these SNAP benefits. Let's not say that ain't down the line that you want these benefits, you got to take this chip. You know what I mean? They're gonna dangle that carrot out there to people.
Of course.
And whether they know about it or not, they're gonna take it.
Of course.
They're gonna take it. You know what I mean? Now you can sit here right now all day and say, no, I ain't doing that shit. I don't give a damn. I ain't doing it, blah, 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 blah. But if you get hungry enough.
Yeah, maybe in Saudi Arabia, you can get away with that. Not in the West.
Don't do it. Unless you are set up to the point that you are self-sustaining, where you off grid, where you can grow your own food, all that other stuff. Other than that, a lot of them are going to take it. What was that Bill Gates said the other day, Aaron, that they were working on something to where they could identify where every single person was?
Yeah, he's going to put so many hundreds of satellites, small low Earth orbit satellites up in space, to where no matter where you go and try to hide, there won't be a square inch that they won't be able to find you.
Yeah.
Scary shit.
Our
our phones already do that. That's our computer chip right now. Those chips that we've all been talking about, our phones are that.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, when was the last time you left your house without your phone? Guaranteed you haven't done that shit in that's your pinpoint for everything. The government knows exactly where everybody is at all times.
True.
If Facebook has access to that shit, the government does.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. See, I need to go back to the flip phone.
We're like, shit, I need to get a Razor from 2002. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. Like I got the burner phone.
Of course.
But
emergency. my burner phone is still an iPhone.
Oh no. My burner phone
you're fucked. You're fucked.
Is a straight flip. You know what I mean? Straight flip, use it.
Yeah, just in case. Crack. See ya. Yep. 100%. W's.
But look, we at 118, so we're gonna narrow this down for the night. But there's one thing that this episode proves, and that is that the U.S. may be strong, but the systems holding it together are not. A single point of failure, down power lines, our money, our communication, our safety, all of it done. And history shows it doesn't take days, it just takes seconds. But awareness is power, preparedness is protection. And like this, we need to start building a safer, smarter, more resilient, I would say, country. But if this opens your eyes to anything that we talked about tonight, send this out to somebody that you care about. Send this out to your friends, neighbors, people you work with, whatever. Have them tune in and check this out. Because a lot of stuff that we talk about on here, we don't do it just to be talking. We do it because we're trying to keep everyone aware as to what's going on and what they can do. I mean, sometimes, like the stuff that Aaron was talking about just a few minutes ago, there's a lot of fear that people could put into that. That's a scary situation, but that's also a very true situation that can happen at any time. You have two choices. Either you can be on top of it, or you can be one of the victims to this. Choice is yours. So to everybody that came out tonight, I thank you. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Go on Mike's page, hit the like button. Go on my page, hit the like button. That's what keeps the show on the proper algorithm to get this out. That's bigger than anything that you can possibly send us.
That's right.
Hit the like button. It only takes you a couple seconds, but that couple seconds will get this out to more and more people, and that's what we're trying to do. So also, if you want to hit the little QR code at the top, it sends you over to the page. We got a lot of stuff on there, a lot of discounts, stuff like that. Just go on there and check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff on there, and if you become a member on there, there's also a section that you wouldn't normally see, but it has even more stuff on there to choose from. So go on there and check that out. And let me see, what else am I thinking today? What else am I missing? Oh, give a shout out to my sister. She's remember I was talking about last week that she was in the hospital. She has to have a surgery, very important one. So thoughts and prayers to her. Those of you that know the words of prayer, send one out for her. But she needs all the prayer she can get right now.
God bless her.
So to everybody else, I'll see you in 7 days. Much love and respect. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. I want to reiterate how I want to say for people who want to know what they should be doing right now. Again, retain food, water, fuel, medicine, and security implements in preparation for this type of disaster. You want to purchase items not based upon expiration dates, but based upon its value to you and your family following a society-ending event. There's power and strength in numbers. So you do not want to be alone when this is going on and think you're going to be Rambo, because that's not going to work. And to survive, you have to know what to expect and mentally and physically prepare for it. And I'll stop there.
With that being said, I can't thank every single one of you guys that are here tonight. We can't do this without you. So we really appreciate your guys' support, whether that be financial, hitting the like button, engaging in the chat. We're really appreciative of everybody. So with that being said, much love, honor, respect, everybody. We'll talk to everybody here in 7 days. God bless.
We don't worry about nothing else. We control what we can't control, but we prepare to be dominant.
On a little bit better. Zayden Moore, though, can field it at the 45 and cut upfield. A great return here by number 1, as he is going to take it all the way in.
Sometimes you got to know what you know. They're going to call it cockiness. They're going to call it arrogance, but you're going to call it confidence. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurity.
They're back.